Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a casted game of Age of Empires 4, and today on the west side of the map we've got Lenok playing in purple as the French. And he'll be going up against his opponent today. It is Gandalf playing in orange. In the southeast corner of the map as the Rus. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Prairie. A new map in Age of Empires 4, and well, we've got two fantastic civilizations for this kind of map. The French and the Rus, both civilizations having access to the early night, or if you are the French royal night, and so the mobility is super important on this map, the Prairie, and it could come into good effect in this particular matchup. We'll see how this one pans out. A couple of villagers, 3 of them on that school of cavalry, already looking to build that up and get that French that French royal knight out nice and early in the feudal age, and the Rus opting for that hunting cabin opening with the wheelbarrow coming in and the golden gate, the landmark of choice. Of course, both civilization contesting the hunt onto the field, which is, you know, things like the deer and the boar, which gives access to the Rus their bounty. Now with the actual current caster overlay, we don't actually see how much bounty has been gathered, which hopefully is something that will be fixed for the Rus. But certainly it's likely to be quite extensive amounts of bounty that the Rus have got today, with Prairie having quite a lot of huntables on the field, although they do come in sort of small packs of 3. The wood lines being very patchy, as you can see, hardly much wood on this map, and that's why the mobility is so key with those knights. So I hope you guys are enjoying the casted game so far. You may have noticed a very big change in my audio quality. Let me know what you feel about the audio quality of my recent videos. I mean this one in particular, because changed the mic setup and hopefully made large amounts of improvements, and hopefully something you guys will enjoy with better quality casting. As we see now the mill coming up with the wheelbarrow for the French as well. Certainly eco approaches have been made for both players, and there's that feudal age for Gandalf getting the golden gate there. Be curious to see if either player goes for a second town centre as well, because having these sparse wood lines, you certainly do need those static defences, and town centres can work quite nicely for that, as well as getting the eco boost with villages, of course. There's a wooden fortress will be coming up on this wood line, and this is quite a nice bonus for the Rus, because the wood line will be protected by the wooden fortresses, but they have another purpose as well. They can actually increase the amount of wood that's dropped off at the lumber camps. So not only will it act as a static defence, but it will also increase the amount of wood that's brought in for the Rus. We'll be getting a barracks for some spearmen, because I suspect he'll be anticipating the knights coming out from the school of cavalry. Will be an archery follow-up here for the French, so it certainly looks like it's going to be knights and archers for the French, and knights and spears potentially for the Rus. That is indeed the case. Stable is being placed down now, just on the southeast border of that barracks. Wheelbarrow now has come in for Lenok and is also going for double broadaxe and the specialized pick for the gold as well. There is that double broadaxe. What's nice for the Rus as well, this hunting cabin will passively gather gold as well, generate gold income to add for that income for affording knights. And it's actually going to be horsemen, because of course Gandalf hasn't actually transitioned to go to gold. So he's going to be looking to get horsemen and spearmen onto the field. And this is an interesting composition, because of course Lenok will have to be careful with his knights. They are more expensive. Speaking of which, he's only just getting one now. Certainly has been playing more of the eco approach, as the scout does dive underneath the town centre a little bit. Villagers coming out to stone, and this is something that Gandalf sees. So this is the important bit of Age of Empires, the scouting information. The scout doing his job, spots the villagers on stone, and confirms that it's going to be a second town centre play by the French. Now what can be done here for the Rus is one of two things: thinking about perhaps getting a second town centre himself, and that does appear to be the case. Could also think about going feudal age aggression, but it looks like the Rus today opting for that second town centre himself. Has 4 villages on that position, has a couple of spearmen dotted around to protect those villages as well, and looks like Lenok will certainly get that second town centre a lot quicker. Look at the number of villages he's got on stone, 10 of them, and he's almost got the wood he needs for that second town centre as well. So certainly the villager lead will be in the favour of Lenok, not only because of staying on one town centre. The French town centre does work faster than all the other civilizations, and so the villager lead will slowly edge in the favour of Lenok, and especially getting that second town centre as well. So we see the knight harassing spearman. Archer is in the play as well. Scout getting involved. 3 horsemen in the way as well. 3 horsemen will take out the archer. Spearmen's 2 of them do survive for now. And the army numbers looking strong here for Gandalf. 9 in total. A mixture of horsemen and spearmen. Villagers coming out now for that second town centre though. On that forward position on the gold in a nice location actually. Protecting this 8,000 large gold vein with that second town centre. Deciding to protect the gold rather than the wood lines and establish some security on the materials and the minerals that he needs for his army, as the villagers are now starting to come out to place the second town centre in front of position there on the boar. 8 of them, of course, on that wood line as well. This is a nice spot. It protects 2 wood lines and it's a forward position. And horsemen will protect those villages for now. Getting survival techniques as well, Roos. Something that actually Lennox hasn't been getting. He does now have chivalry. Getting horticulture as well, so certainly a macro approach style to the gameplay so far today. As we see a couple more villages heading towards the south, maybe to the boar. That is indeed the case. Going to take it with the mill. And does have a knight there as well. Going to draw the boar with the scout. Attack it with the knight. This is a nice play. And even if he was attacking it with the knight and making the boar attack the knight, well, he's got chivalry anyway. So the knight HP will heal up. Horseman heading that position. This is a nice pick off by Gandalf, or nice attack by Gandalf because of the scouting. So Gandalf's scouting looking to be very, very strong here today. And it could be in part because of the sort of extra number of scouts he has. Because he has got 3 scouts on the field. We'll look to take down the scout for Lennox, and that takes out the vision for Lennox, which is quite important here. Spearman might dive into that second town centre though. He wouldn't have known it by now, but he will now, and just manages to get away from the town centre fire. Elsewhere on the map, the villager lead is slowly starting to build up for Lennox, but Gandalf slowly looking to try and keep up. Try and make efficiency savings as he can. Of course, has the wooden fortresses, but one thing that's kind of at least bothersome for the Roos is they can't necessarily make the most of the wooden fortress bonus that they get. Sorry, not wooden fortress, rather the hunting cabin, because of the fact that there just aren't that many wood lines. We'll have to invest in many more hunting cabins than usual compared to other maps, as Iron Undermesh comes in now for Gandalf, looking to get those blacksmith upgrades. Blacksmith has been built by Lennox as well. We can tell because of the fact that they've got Bloomery for free, their first attack upgrade for the melee units. Also looking to get the melee defense. Wonder whether Roos will be looking to do a lot of damage in the feudal age, or perhaps go to the castle age. Remains to be seen. Horsemen diving on the berry villagers. Might be able to get 1 villager possibly. Just manages to get 1 and then is going to retreat. Of course, the town centre fire does pick off a horseman. Overall, not a terrible trade there for Lennox. Of course, the villager the more valuable unit. At least long-term macro-wise into the game, and horsemen do retreat. Spearman coming out to this position again. Lennox doesn't want to be burned twice by that attack. As 2 knights and a scout do go forward, looking to try and get some damage. Wooden fortress coming in front of that town centre. And this is a nice touch. We'll be boosting up the wood brought in by villagers on these 2 wood lines, but also acting as another static defence. As now Lennox does look to try and get the boar. Does have a bit more map control with the military number on the field, with spearmen and archers to defend that position. And now we're able to get that fast food in the north though. Sending those spearmen out meant the horsemen will attack again. The villagers have been pulled in though. And the villagers certainly preferring the boar meat versus the berries. There is a knight, an archer and a spear. That could be a fight that Gandalf might want to take again. We'll have to watch this space as the wooden fortress now is up and running for Gandalf. Looks like the 2 knights were taken out by spearmen. A lot of spearmen on the field by Gandalf. Certainly playing heavy feudal age. And we can see production buildings going down. More archery ranges. Certainly going to be heavy feudal age for Gandalf. On the last tree on this wood line. So this village is going to have to relocate very soon. Getting an outpost here on the west. On that boar meat. Sensible idea. Horseman diving on the berries again. This has always been a problem for Lennox in this match so far. There is a spearman, but Gandalf quite happy to try and take another village if he can. Might get another one. He does. And this is perfect by Gandalf. He recognises that the French, of course, have the faster working town centres. And so he has to do some damage here and there because he can't just let the villager lead kind of climb here. He's taking the fight against the spear. I'm not sure I like that. Those spears are incredibly good against taking HP on those horsemen. He does retreat eventually. Knights on the chase, but the horsemen have the faster movement speed. Although I take that back because the charge is coming in. But the knights does get a charge attack. Nicely done. The horseman trying to ride away now. Gandalf doing great work with sniping villagers, meaning that he actually has the villager lead. And so this is nice play. Has the higher value of army as well. 28 military on the field. Gandalf playing this very nicely. Looks like looking to put on some more pressure. Knights continuing the chase. Does pick off another horseman. Could have been a scout. Actually, I'm not entirely sure. Looks like it was a horseman. In any case, the horseman will ride in. And it could be a bit of a debate. Spears heading that position. That could be bad for Leonok. He senses the danger and he heads back. Doesn't want to dive into those spears, that's for sure. Peels away 3 spears here, Gandalf. To try and continue the chase. And head towards 8. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That is a 3rd town centre. So the 3rd town centre is up and running for Gandalf. And certainly the villager lead will be heading in the way of Gandalf now. Got a little bit of an early lead with the villager picks he got, but I'm not entirely sure how long that 3rd town centre was there for. But in any case, it's up and running, and it's going to be super strong for Roos. It does give the French a bit of a window of opportunity to put some pressure, though, if it can build up some military numbers and attack. Of course, villagers don't come cheaply, but they do pay for themselves very quickly, so we'll see. He's protected another nice location, actually, in the south. Close by gold veins and woodlines and berries, too. Looks like things are going to start to heat up, though. The army numbers starting to really build up on the right side for Leonarch. He's heading in this position, heading towards the secondary town centre. Most thinks about diving. Thinks better of it. There are units of each kind there. Spears engaging. Archers are behind. The horsemen diving away. Doesn't want to engage too quickly. Archers getting good hits, though, on the retreat. That's not ideal for the Roos. You feel like once you engage, the first person to retreat really does start to lose out, because your opponent has the archers firing off on the retreat. You do start to lose some units. Of course, it all has to be measured, though. Outpost coming up. Arrow slits on the boar here. Is that no, it might be a different outpost, actually. In any case, the fight continues. The spears dive in. Horsemen are in play as well. Knights aren't in this position, though, on the west. Are they flanking? They are. This is nice by Leonok. He's decided to flank, and spears have to stay in an area. It's almost like it's going to be a bit of a sandwich. Archer's getting good pick-offs on the spears. That's not good for Gandalf. He does not want to lose those spears. If he loses those spears, the knights will dive. And the knights diving will be bad news. A knight does get picked off, though, and that was very valuable for Gandalf. Of course, the knights can heal to the chivalry. These are all full health knights, and that is a concern for the Roos. Of course, they don't have such technology for the horsemen. The numbers are still looking very healthy here for Gandalf. Army value still higher than his opponents, and slowly but surely the villager lead will be climbing, but not all that much considering it's 2 town centres versus 3, and the French, of course, have the faster running town centres. Villagers now having to relocate on the southern wood line, at least on the west side of that town centre. Army's heading forward now for Gandalf. He feels confident. He's got army upgrades, blacksmith upgrades. Does pick off a villager. Might pick off 2. Knights look to charge. Spears aren't in position, though, for Gandalf. That's the problem. Spears should have been there. They do come into the fight now. The archers focusing on the archers. What's happening on the right side? Knights coming with a big raid, but although there's not that many villagers, and that comes down to the fact there's wooden fortresses there. This is the big engagement. Horsemen diving in on the archers. Knights are still coming in to reinforce. Archers in behind. The spearmen looking in good numbers. Another batch of spearmen comes in for Gandalf. This is a strong push. 36 military to 26. And Gandalf is making big strides in this game. Leonok is pushing this back a little bit. Knight numbers starting to climb. And horsemen engage. No spearmen, though, for Gandalf. The spearmen numbers are down. And Gandalf seems like he's quite happy with the progress he made. The knights, though, didn't really see how much damage they did, but caused a lot of idle time at the very least. And that was a telling fight. You feel like, actually, if Leonok if he had all his army in one spot, he probably would have cleaned that up. In any case, Gandalf retreats back to his base, does have the weaker army, at least in terms of army value now. And Leonok overall took perhaps a better trade, but there's just so many knights for Leonok here. And the concern for Gandalf is that the longer this game goes on, without picking these knights' numbers off, these knights will start to become veteran royal knights, and those things will be super tanky, and they'll be able to take fights against spearmen. They won't mind at all. And I get the feeling this is the way the game is going to head. If those knight numbers aren't going to be dwindling with fights, then they're going to keep being aggressive, and they're healing up as well. They're causing idle time, picking off villagers here, and this is strong for Leonok. And he can just retreat. He's got the mobility. He might lose a knight or 2. There is one knight that's really weak health, and if Gandalf can take that knight, that would be key, but he doesn't spot it. It's 1 HP, that knight. He does pick off 1 there, though. That's what needs to happen. He needs to make sure that these knights just don't heal up fully. And some get taken out. It's no use just reducing them to half health. Does look like now Gandalf looking to get some knights of his own. He's floating a lot of wood though, has to be said. 125 population. Certainly looks like Lennox is doing the better job of spending his resources. Coming down on the south now. This area is pretty exposed. Oh, there are 8 villagers here. We'll have to garrison inside the wooden fortress, but good awareness by Gandalf to spot this out. But the knights will dive this. This is a problem because this is going to be 8 villagers that are going to die now. Wooden fortress will be taken down. The knights will tank this. All I say that the horsemen diving in, there aren't going to be enough to take effective fight. The weak knight there does pick off a knight there. I think he targeted the weak one actually. That's a very nice play. We saw it there actually. He definitely targeted that weak knight in the pack. This is what separates a lot of the high players. And he's going to try quick walls. Will he manage it? He doesn't quite manage it. There's a little bit of a gap there. Lennox manages to turn around. He does lose another knight. The village elite still in the way of Gandalf, but idle time calls, of course. And on the west as well, knights heading in with the archers. This is fantastic play by Lennox. The ability to control units at different positions of the map is absolutely incredible. Couple of villagers still on the gold vein there. Knights are heading back in this position. And they're going to dive on these villagers. The villagers are unprotected. There's nothing else around them. The knights do dive. And those are going to be a lot of dead villagers. Well, actually they survived for now. There's wooden fortress. Didn't quite spot that. Army on the west side. Lennox pulling his opponent left, right and centre. The archers picking off some units. This is incredibly high level Age of Empires spears. Heading that position. Trouble for the spears, they just don't have the mobility. Looks like both players are going to be edging towards that castle age, but it does look like Lennox going to get there first, and this is a concern that Gandalf has, because that castle age tech up is going to be strong for Lennox. Getting the Royal Institute, those knights will be incredibly tanky with Imperial Age upgrades effectively. And Spearmen, I mean these units could perish actually. The knights might decide to take that fight, especially when the Royal Institute is up and running and the upgrades come in. Army for Gandalf having to back off. Does have a decent number of knights, but not enough you feel. The archer numbers not really helping him here. Spearmen coming on the west side. This could be a fight, good fight for him. We shall see. Lennox is pushing the issue, but the Spearmen coming in and Lennox decides against it. He's taking up to the next stage, so there's no real reason to dictate a fight here. He will want to upgrade those units first. The archers on the retreat though for Lennox will be picked apart by the knights. I think this is a Lennox trade here. I think Lennox is quite happy to trade the archers there. As long as he keeps the knights available and up and running and going to be upgradable now. Now that he's in the castle age, this is a huge concern for Gandalf. He's got so much wood. Might look to sell that using the trade house. We'll have to see. In any case, the numbers of army is looking to start to equalize a little bit. Oh, spearmen are rushing in. That is a massive loss of army there for Gandalf. Quite unnecessary. Lost a good number of spearmen there to the archers and the knights, and that was a problem because I feel like there's going to be a big fight, and those spearmen could be a big difference. It could have been a big difference. As I say, we're taking out a large number of knights, 31 of them. Is that 31 or 19 actually? Yeah, it is. It was 31. He's going to be getting the veterancy of the knights. And that's going to be hugely strong. He's going to take a fight. I don't think he minds taking this fight. The veteran's going to come in right now during the fight. He's going to take the fight. Holy smokes. He's going to turn away just for now. Wait for the upgrades and then turn around. I think he's going to turn and fight. Got the veterancy. He could just turn and fight. Village on the gold vein. A little bit exposed. This is smart. The archers picking off spears as they retreat. And Lennox won't mind losing the archers. Losing the archers is not a problem. He just wants to reduce the number of spears as he can and take a decisive fight, you feel. Because that decisive fight is just about to happen. Gandalf pushing the issue though, because he knows that he's an age behind. Looks like he's going to stay in the feudal age. Going to put the fight now. Spearmen are engaging, but these are veteran Royal Knights. I think these veteran Royal Knights, they win. They're going to get a massive surround on the Spearmen. They take the fight. Archers in the behind, just not enough. And this is going to be the decisive fight. If you're Lennox pushing in with the massive numbers of knights, these are Castle Age knights now, and that is a loss of army here. A massive loss of army for Gandalf. Don't forget he's an age behind as well. And then now the knights for the French are going to run riot, you feel. Heading in, going to sweep up those spearmen and the archers. Spearmen are coming in to help, but Felix not going to be enough. Numbers of knights can be hard to stop here. They're healing as they ride as well. And he's going to ride straight into the heart of that eco. Going to take down any remaining static defenses. And it's going to be difficult from here. And it is indeed going to be difficult because Lennox is victorious on Prairie. The French triumph over the Rus.